Good day, my name is Zoya Jasmine McLaughlin, student number 24220724, and today I will be discussing my bioecological model. This is my student card. As you can see, it's on display. This is my bioecological model, and if you look closely, you can see that there are events placed in it that are in my essay. I'm going to read what I have for the individual and the microsystem. So over here it says individual, it has my name, and it says that I'm very independent. When you read my essay, you would learn that I have learned to become very independent because of good factors like my parents encouraging me when I am in my young stages of life. It's stage 2. In Erik Erikson's child development stages, and also because I was expected to grow up quite fast because of my surroundings in my grandparents' house, and so that is why I wrote independent. Now the whole microsystem is also my family and my teachers at school, since that is the people that I spent the most time with. My family consists of my parents and my sister. I come from a very loving background, as I said in my essay, and very loving parents. My sister and I were quite close. Unfortunately, she did pass away, which is mentioned in my essay. That would also link to me being independent, where it's an example of me having to do things and grow up faster than most people my age at 10 years old didn't have to experience. And then I have my school. My schooling career wasn't the best when my sister passed away because I always felt like I was being compared to her. She went to the same primary school as me, and she also did go to Westville Girls High, and I went there in grade 8, but I left early because I still felt compared in that school. But in my essay, I spoke mainly about primary school, since that is the school that I spent the most time in, where Zoe was still very part of my life and I felt compared. I did have 2 very good teachers, like I mentioned in my essay. Those 2 teachers always made me feel understood and motivated me, and like I said in my essay, they brought my love and passion for teaching back to my mother and my parents. My mother is an educator, and I was very exposed to the educational system from a very young age. So I always went back to education as my career path. Now we are going to go into the mesosystem, which is your interaction between your family and school. That school, the teachers were in my micro because they affected my life quite a lot. And then the other children at school, I didn't have very good relationships with my peers at school. I have that many friends, as I stated in my essay, that I always felt like I didn't fit in with my peers that were my age. I always felt like I was expected to grow up faster than others. So my relationships at school were affected because of the environments that I was exposed to at a young age and the circumstances that I faced at a young age. And then it says interaction with family. We are always and always have been a very close family. We were always in and out of each other's houses. Would see my grandparents every single day after school because my grandpa would pick us up from school. Then we have the exosystem. The exosystem, it has extended family that I listed as a very dysfunctional family. That would be my uncles would fit more in the external family when it comes to the dysfunctional side of my family. And then I have church, local clinics, and neighbors. I grew up in an area where I wasn't that close to my neighbors. I didn't grow up knowing my neighbors. With the clinics, my parents always were financially stable and could afford medical aid, so I never went to a local clinic. I always went to a private hospital. And then church, I grew up in a very involved church, a very family orientated church. Macro system, I have the economic environment. Growing up, my parents, like I said, have always been financially stable. They've always had more than enough to provide for my sister and I. So I don't have any negative sides about that. Then I have the education system. Like I said, I was introduced to the educational system at a very young age, growing up with a mother who is an educator. And I was exposed to the negatives and positives. Always went to good schools. I was always provided the best opportunities at school. And then if I link the education system to my personal experience when it comes to teachers, like I said, I always felt compared. And lastly, I have society at large. And over here, I said I grew up in a protected upbringing and living in a very stable household. My parents have always had a stable marriage. My parents have always been very motivational and loving and encouraging towards me. So this is the end of my explanation of my bioecological system. And once again, this is how it looks up close. I have listed everything on this system, this model that links to my essay. Thank you.